For every age, there is a time of trial. The rocks faced such a fire before they were the strength beneath our feet. The plants braved vast winds before their roots could give us life. As a sage of considerable years, I have known only one such great ordeal. Yet the hero it created was a champion for all time.
knows? But no! She's going on and on about mystical energy channels, evil curses, stupid crap. Forget all that! I'm gonna sum this up quickly, because now you're cutting into my siesta time.
Welcome to the Hyperfixation, where our friends come onto our show and tell us about things that excite them for 30 to 45 minutes or longer, because you know what? The timer is a lie! My name is Roma. I use the they and them pronouns, and today I'm joined by our returning guest host and co-host of the show, Lewis.
It's me. I am back. It's Luis Robles, or Lewis, or Lulu, or Selbo, or whatever the fuck. I use the he, they pronouns, please. Preferably they. I'm just so used to responding to he, but God, I don't like it.
I don't like it. So you've been on this show before. You are a co-host of this show, and you are back. And you approached me with this topic. And do you want to share the mishap that you had with your notes on air?
Oh man.
Or do you want to hide that privately?
I don't know how much I'm gonna keep this in the final edit of this, but I have taken notes for this damn series 3 times, 4 times, 3, whatever. I've lost count. I've taken the notes on this several times over this past week and a day or so. First time, it was too cliff notey. I didn't know what my points were. Second time, it was just run on to the point where I felt like I was doing a Wikipedia article for the series. And then the third time, I got them pretty good, and my cats ran across the keyboard or laid on it or whatever and corrupted that Word file. So I closed it because I thought, hey, I saved this several times, and it asked if I wanted to save before closing. And then I opened it, and it just said Jack and Daxter notes. So I had to rewrite my notes for this game series 4 times. So if we get to the end of the story or when we get towards the end of the second game, or Jack and Daxter 2, the third game, in chronological order, don't worry about how I am going to be stammering a bit more. I did my best, y'all.
That's what this show's for.
Doing your best.
Just do your best. Just go with where your heart goes. Go where your heart goes.
Go where my heart goes. Yeah, put that on a shirt.
Put that on a fucking shirt. So you did do a little drop of what we're talking about today, and I'm sure people walking into this episode already know what we're talking about today, but we're gonna introduce it like this anyway. We're talking about Jack and Daxter today.
Yes, Jack and Daxter. The old PlayStation 2 game.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, this game came out when I was 10 years old. My children are screaming. One sec. Alright, I'm back. I'm so sorry.
You're okay. You're allowed. Were you saying we were making fun of how old the PlayStation 2 is?
Yes, the back in my day bit. This game, the first game in this series came out when I was 5 or 6.
Did it really?
Yeah, it came out in 2001.
So, actually, let's start there. It came out in 2001, but were you playing it in 2001?
No, in fact, I have never played the first game in the series personally.
That's okay, you don't have to.
Um, the game I played most, um, was Jack and Daxter 2, and I probably got my hands on that around 9 or 10.
So, yeah, tell me more about that. Tell me more about your history, and then we'll jump into the meat and potatoes, but I wanna understand your history with Jack and Daxter.
Yeah, so growing up, my mom had the PlayStations, so she had all the Sony consoles, and then she got me my own console, which was the original Xbox. And I didn't really get a chance to play much PlayStation games because that was more my mom's system, and we'd only play games together occasionally. Um, and this is a Sony exclusive franchise. So, by happenstance, I actually came across a loose disc of this just on the school bus one day.
Whoever you like stole that from on accident is probably like in such despair.
But it brought me joy, so thank you for your unknowing donation, random person, whoever you are out there.
Thank you, random citizen.
Thank you, Metro Man. And that was my first, personally owned PlayStation 2 game, was just a loose disc of Jak and Daxter 2 that was scratched to all hell, so I can only play the beginning of the game, but I loved it so much. It was edgy, and cool, and the graphics were great. I'd gotten Grand Theft Auto on my, original Xbox, so this was a nice change from, like, a kid game to, like, a more mature game without being so blatantly violent,
Yeah.
which was just, very rampant and started that was the turn of more violent games hitting, like, mainstream, and, you might remember this from being a kid of, like, how much violence is too much violence in video games, etc., etc.
You remember my Katamari Damacy hyperfixation, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that was one of my bullet points I think that I had was in the year that Katamari Damacy came out, it was like a shining light in a bullet hell of like first person shooter games.
Well, this was that for me, but also it did have guns, but it wasn't too much. It wasn't too extreme. I was the lightest of gamers then. Like, I played games, but I didn't have Halo, which is buck wild as an original Xbox owner. I just never had access to Halo. Um, so I didn't get that shoot 'em up sort of feel from there, and my mom didn't let me play Devil May Cry, which I think also came out this year, or the year that this game came out. So, I don't know, it's a weird, mix of from this time period, it's all, like, kinda mixed together of the type of games I had of, like, Tak and the Power of Juju and Tai the Tasmanian Tiger, and they're kinda like they're just kids games, where this felt like it was the next step up of, "Before you get to your grown-up games, why don't you play this, son?"
Look at this one right here.
Yeah, it was my gateway drug to more hardcore games.
Man, and this is probably my favorite reoccurring theme on this show is that I have almost zero experience with Jack and Daxter. I actually couldn't remember what they looked like. That's how little I knew about it. I knew it existed. I knew it's been like all of my and I think this is also just a product of the time forward slash like maybe product of the time is not the best word, but you'll understand when I say it. Uh most of my guy friends I remember were playing this game. But I never got to play it myself. I just knew that they were playing it in this one specific period of time in my life. But that was it. So you're going to be my gateway drug into Jack and Daxter today.
Perfect, and hopefully this inspires a random listener or whoever or a friend to say, "Hey, I remember games from this time period," and they can be my gateway drug into the Sly Cooper franchise. I always wanted to, but I never got to play them.
Never got to play them.
So this was a labor of love, but also a hope of I know Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper were games in the same area, the same genre that was released around the same time and other people loved them and they would put them in the same bubble. I just never touched those games. It was only Jack and Daxter for me.
I played the fuck out of Sly Cooper too. That shit ruled.
Well, maybe you can be my gateway drug to that.
Oh my gosh. Actually, you know the whole demure thing?
Oh god. Yes, I do.
In Sly Cooper, they said demure back then.
Very demure, very mindful.
Yeah, thievery, stealing stuff, the thievius raccoonus, very demure, very mindful. Um, Jack and Daxter.
Jack and Daxter. I was probably 11 or 12 actually, because I was a freshman in middle school. That's around 11 years old, right?
That sounds about right.
10 or 11, whatever.
I would say, yeah, like end of 5th grade, beginning of 6th grade, depending around that time. Um, are you ready to jump into it? Are you
Sure.
ready to dive in head first?
I'm ready to get through this and pass this love on to you and the listeners and not look at it again for a few months.
I feel that.
Something I always forget about doing these hyperfixes with you is, yeah, I love these things that I talk about, and I just genuinely want to just express my affection for it. And then when it's over, mm, I don't want to ingest that information again for a while.
Yeah, I have a video that I recorded that is gonna come out eventually whenever my computer decides to fucking participate. Um, and after I recorded it, it's like, yeah, I can't listen to that album now for at least another 6 months. I just dripped it dry of everything, of all the good it had.
Yeah.
I still love it, but yeah, it's good. There's a 6-month recovery time on that one.
Is gonna be put to the side. I guess in the meantime, before we fully jump into this, if any of you listeners came in from a previous episode that I've done, here's a quick update for all of them. The Land still hasn't had a new book, but he's currently writing the next book in the series. He needed a much deserved break. Um, the Magnus Archives created a new series to follow up after everything that happened in that event, and the latest book in the Aragon universe about his brother uh sucked. I hated it. It followed the edgy brother who was edgy but also less edgy, and also there's just new big threats around that weren't there before, and whack. Now I'm ready to get into it.
Thank you for the updates.
I don't think anyone has done it before, and I didn't know if I should, but I did it anyway.
No, I think it's a good idea actually, especially for returning guest hosts. Um, Jack and Daxter.
Okay. Jack and Daxter. Here are some things of note, real quick. Jack and Daxter was made by Naughty Dogs. You might know them from the Last of Us series or the Uncharted, but they were also the original makers, producers of the first three games of Crash Bandicoot.
Hey yo.
Yeah, so they had a big influence on several people's lives, most likely. If you played any early Sony games like Crash Bandicoot, you will definitely feel that in this first game.
I didn't play Crash Bandicoot.
Well, this honestly, that first game looked like it was a more in-depth version of the engines that they put forth in Crash Bandicoot and the stunning cinematics that they created even for that time period. Of course, they don't hold up completely now. They're for the PlayStation 2, but still top tier.
Top tier, top tier.
I guess the background with this is after they finished the original trilogy with Crash Bandicoot, they said, "Hey, let's move on to something new." And also, Universal owns the rights to Crash Bandicoot, so we want something that we deliver straight to Sony. So we're gonna go straight to Sony, work with them directly, release these exclusive games so we can get more bang for our buck. Yay, money, capitalism, cool, cool, cool.
Cool, cool, cool.
The most minor information is they did not want regional differences between their protagonists, like what happened in Crash Bandicoot. There was slight redesigns and stuff. So Naughty Dogs actually worked with Sony of America and Europe and Japan and passed the design of Jack over to them to make sure that everyone had feedback and it felt good to audience from the get-go. So, interesting. They tried very hard to make sure that this game was a success.
They tried so hard, tried so hard.
They tried so hard. In the end, it really didn't matter.
It didn't?
So, it was a success, but I will also get into why it wasn't a success after I recap the first game.
Okay.
Well, I can actually go into it now. Something we went over in the beginning is in 2001, when this first game came out, it was also a big year for mature games. Grand Theft Auto 3 dropped the same year, and a lot more adult centralized games. So, of course, people who had been playing games forever grew up. And so, family friendly games actually took a dive because the market had completely changed around this point. So, fantastic game, didn't do well. It got the Treasure Planet treatment of everyone loves it, but also it got drowned out by other stuff around it,
Mm. Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right, now that I got random bits of information out of the way, if anyone cared about that, I'm actually going to get into the story now.
Story time.
Story time. All right, so we start off with two asshole kids ignoring the advice from their sage Samos, who said, "Hey, don't go to Misty Islands." And they said, "Fuck that, we're gonna go to some islands." So they went to the Misty Islands. They saw some bad guys there monologuing to some minions of a different species called lurkers, which I would describe them as like kind of fish, kind of ape creatures.
They're just little guys.
They're just little guys. They're silly. They come in different colors of like purple, blue, red, like burgundy. They just have like a darker hue to them. But overall, they're just the minions of some bad guys monologuing about how they are gonna like take over the world or whatever. And remember to gather artifacts and technology from the precursors.
Those are the bad guys?
These are the bad guys. That's bad guy number one and bad guy the sister.
Okay.
They're siblings. The precursors, which you get context clues as playing the games, are the ancient civilization that came before humanity. Even though our characters look elvish, they are human. That is their species. And long before there were humans around, they were the precursors, and they left ancient technology and information and structures all over the planet. And these bad guys are like, "Hey, lurkers, if you see artifacts, you gather them for us and take over the world with us. Sound cool? Cool.
Cool. GG, thanks.
Hey, thanks for the stuff, guys. We really appreciate it. You guys get something out of it, I'm sure."
Capitalism at its finest.
While they're listening to this, they almost get caught by some lurkers. This is still opening cutscene stuff of creeping shit. Let's not get caught and start just walking around the island exploring. While they explore, they come across a pit of like dark, oozy stuff that they're like, "Ew, what's that crap?" When I say they, it's our protagonists, Jack, our mute protagonist, and Daxter, his wisecracking, annoying friend. Um, and a lurker actually sneaks up on them, and with their little encounter with that lurker, Jack gets pushed back, bumps into Daxter, knocking him into this ooze.
Ooze.
After Daxter gets knocked in there, he gets spit out from this dark ooze, and he's been transformed into an orange weasel looking thing. Here's a reference art of human version of Daxter and his little animal form that we will see him in for the rest of this game.
I had no idea that little guy, that's Daxter.
That's Daxter.
I never thought that he was ever a human in the first place.
Yep, he just fell into this pit that we will later find out is called Dark Eco, and it transformed him into an Ottsel, which is an otter weasel.
I love it.
And obviously he freaks out because he's been transformed into a completely different species, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Valid.
So after Daxter falls into this pit of dark ego, they go back to Samos, the sage, and they're like, "Hey, this is what happened." And Samos is like, "Yeah, I'm gonna monologue at you real quick. You guys are idiots. I told you not to go there. It's the only place I told you not to go, and you guys went there. Now you've been transformed, and I can't help you even if I wanted to." Dude's sassy as fuck, doesn't take any of Daxter's wisecracking jokes. Um, he gives it back as much as he takes it.
Okay.
So he's like, "I can't do it, but we have a different sage named Gull who's been studying Dark Eco, but he lives on the north side of the island, and I can't get you up there because no other sage has had their teleporter gate open in a while. Mine's is open, but no one else's has theirs open, so you're gonna have to trek it on foot." But, of course, there's the volcanic part of the island that goes straight down the middle, so that's gonna be an issue.
Plot devices. Let's go.
Plot device, here's Samos. He's a grumpy little asshole who just yells at them.
Oh. Oh my god.
Ye
His fucking shoes.
Oh, his big ass log shoes? They're
Yeah.
perfect.
No, that guy's got chiropractic problems.
But he's also got chiropractor energy where, like, yeah, he's got his own issues, but he's gonna make you right. He's gonna fix you up.
I feel like I don't want him to touch me, to be honest with you.
Ye I wouldn't from his personality alone. He's kind of an asshole, especially to Daxter. Honestly, it feels like out of every NPC that has to deal with Daxter, like, he's got actual factual beef with this child.
Blech. Actual problems.
I forgot to drop here is Jack.
You know, he does look like a product of the early 2000s.
Yeah, it worked, I guess. Definitely a product of its time.
He looks like if you put In Sync into a PlayStation 2 game.
You wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah.
But, after that, after saying, "Hey, they gotta go through, like, volcanic area," a voice comes through the door, and it's Kira, Samos's daughter, is like, "Hey, actually, instead of that, why don't you guys take my Zoomer?" It's essentially a hover bike, "and you can fly over the volcanic areas with the heat shields I put on it, but you're gonna need to gather some power cells from around the island." So this is like fetch quests. The reason of every quest is essentially to gather some power cells. That's like the thing you gather throughout the game to function every single machine, and every single goal is collect these power cells to insert and do the thing.
That sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, the power cells are more precursor technology and stuff that people are just using. Besides that, the power in the world is the eco. I talked about dark eco, of there just being a pit there and there being a sage that studies the dark eco. There is actually a sage for the 5 different types of eco. Samos is the sage for the green eco, life, nature, blah blah blah. His whole aesthetic, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's green eco, yellow eco, blue eco, and red eco, and then dark eco. And he's like, "All right, well, now that you guys have a mission, get the hell out of my house." So Samos kicks you out of his house so you start doing adventure stuff.
Yeah. And how they're like 15, right?
Yeah, essentially, like
Yeah.
15, 16 years old.
I didn't get an adventure when I was 15.
I wish. Started replaying a Pokemon game today, and the way they just let their kids go out and just do stuff always blows my mind. I wanted adventure when I was a child.
You know, never mind. I was about to say, let's let our children adventure at 15. And I was like, you know what, actually.
Wait, hold on, wait. So essentially, to gather these power cells, early 2000 quests of go talk to villagers so you can help them out, or go defeat a monster in these layers, and they're just spread out throughout the whole damn island, um, or mainland where they are. So they just do these quests, defeating lurkers or giant bugs or dark eco corrupted creatures along the way, to gain these power cells. And while they do that, they work their way to getting these cells. They get the zoomer and make their way all the way up. Make my way is essentially everywhere in these fucking notes, and it's going to be what I say constantly.
Making my way downtown, making my way through the crowd.
Woo-ba-doo-boo-ba-doo-boo.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
So, anyways, after going through the land, they make their way to an area where they find out that the blue sage has gone missing. Someone who was working along with them, the sage created a machine to essentially uh, gravitate boulders and move stuff out of the way. And hey, sage has gone missing, so we don't know what to do. So report back to Samos, let him know the situation. And in the meantime, he's like, "Hey, why don't you heal some more of my plants, Dark Eco, blah, blah, blah."
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that's essentially Samos is always giving you shit and saying that you are no hero while also giving you tasks to do. Samos is an asshole, and I love him for it.
I don't know if I love him yet. And maybe I will, but so far he's just an asshole.
No, he is just an asshole, and unless you play the game, I think it's just gonna come off as an asshole, but, like, I think maybe he's grown on me in an endearing way of, like, a grumpy older family member.
Mm. Okay.
Maybe I've Pavloved myself into loving this guy.
Like, what's the word? When you're trapped with somebody and you fall in love with your captor? Stockholm? Have you been Stockholmed?
I've been Stockholmed into liking Samos, and he's just an asshole.
And I just point at him like, but he's just an asshole. Like he's with
Yeah.
wood on his head.
Straight up in my notes, I just have a notation at this very moment that says Samos always seems to have some random beef with Daxter yelling at him and sassing him for no reason.
No reason.
To be fair, Daxter is kind of an asshole himself, and I think that's where you're supposed to get like the joy because he's the voice of our protagonists. He's the one who sasses the NPCs and tearing apart everything they say and accepting quests and blah blah blah. Um, in some of the cutscenes that these happen, Jack looks like he's going to open his mouth to say something, but then Daxter always speaks up, so it's implied that he can talk but doesn't or gets cut off.
I wonder if they actually hired a voice actor for him.
Not yet, but we'll get there.
So he does eventually get to talk.
Eventually, he gets to talk, not in this game at all.
That's really is there even any like grunts or anything, like little noises?
Uh, from Daxter on your shoulder.
Oh my god. Um that's fucking hilarious. You know, can I derail you for a second?
Absolutely.
So, you know how I'm watching Comey Can't Communicate right now?
Yeah.
My whole brain is just like Jack is just Comey and Daxter is the other guy whose name I can't remember right now. Um yeah, everything is I'm going to make everything relate to Comey Can't Communicate.
I see a hyperfix happening with this show, honestly.
Oh, it actively is a hyperfixation for sure,
I need
but
it.
it's not going to become content.
Some things you can just enjoy without them becoming content.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Sorry.
back to this prep. No, you are completely good. I know what I signed up for this, and I tried to prepare you the best I can with how long this is potentially gonna be.
And I keep derailing shit.
It's not fun if I'm just talking. I wanna talk with you, not just at you.
It's a conversation.
So, after they get that, machine powered up again with the help of Kira, they get the machine back up and running with some, eco that's just around. Eco's just everywhere on this island, by the way, just orbs of eco
It's
that you
all
get from
around
space
us.
or whatever. All around you are
Familiar eco.
familiar. So you power up this machine, you move a boulder out of the way, you defeat like it looks like a lurker in precursor technology, like a mech made out of old-timey shit.
Mhm.
You defeat this guy, you take the power core from his suit, and then you find the house of the red eco sage. When you do that, you activate the warp gate there. And they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck? This place is a mess. It's just like the Blue Sage's house. What happened?" And of course, we hear evil laughter and monologue. It's bad guy from the beginning of the
The
game.
bad siblings.
It's bad siblings looking so hot. Specifically, Maya. I love Maya.
They
Maya.
they did do her brother dirty though.
Yeah, speaking of the brother, Samos looks up at them and it's like, "Oh my god, it's Maya and Gull. Gull, the dark eco sage.
Oh,
Oh no, Gull, you've went too far. You've played with the dark magic and you've been corrupted."
well, that's a plot twist.
Daxter is not happy because he's like, "Hey yo, how am I gonna become human again?" And Samos is like, "Focus up, homie. They just said that they've kidnapped all of the other sages, and they're using their power to power their dark eco to reshape the world the way they want to." And then evil laugh and then fly away because evil people can fly sometimes, I guess. Mm.
You know, maybe that's why he's ugly.
Because he can fly?
No, because he's an asshole.
Yeah. He's eh. As far as villains go, these are pretty absentee villains. Like, most of the charm from this game comes from you just exploring the world and just doing stuff. Like, we saw these guys once before the game actually started, and now more than halfway through the game, they show up again and they're like, haha, evil plan! Goodbye.
Uh-huh. Okay, they're plot devices.
Yeah, they're plot devices. So anyways, they also like dropped the hint that hey, we're also gonna use the dark eco that's been stored in some silos for some reason, and use that to power us reshaping the world. And Samos was like, "Oh my god, if those get opened, they'll just corrupt the world just with being open. So we can't let that happen.
No,
So now you guys got to make your way even further north to find out where they're keeping the other sages and stop them before they do evil."
you got to do hero stuff. You not hero.
Yeah, again, seriously just laughs in their face about them being heroes, but also just gives them the task to save the world while he does fuck and all, I guess.
Goddamn.
Jack and Daxter make their way up to the silos with upgrades to the hover bike, which happens along the way. Originally, you can only withstand small amounts of heat, so you can't go directly over the lava of the volcanoes. You can just go over like kind of cooler areas, but you get upgrades to the heat shields, blah blah blah. So they make their way to the silos and they activate another one of the warp gates, and then Kira comes through and it's like, "Oh my god, my dad, he was taken by the bad guys. What are we gonna do?"
Well, what are we gonna do?
I guess we're gonna save your dad and the sages in the world, I guess.
I guess. Shrug.
I, I guess we do that. Do the thing that we were already doing. So they make their way into the silos. Boom, there's Samos already there. How? Warp gates, I guess. He's caged, and his power is getting siphoned off of him and the other sages that are in the room in their own cages with their own siphons on them, ripping their powers away from them. And they're like, "Hey, get us, get us out!
Let me out. Let me out.
Uh, please just let me out. Can't you see that there's a ancient tech and artifact machine right behind us? The thing that they monologued in the beginning of the game. They're going to use that to destroy the world, and our power is getting siphoned to activate it." So you go around the room, breaking the sages out one by one as they're trying to use the eco they have left to break the shield around the mech and destroy the thing.
Destroy.
After they get the sages out one by one, Samos is the last one, and then he's like, "Hey, we're not going to be able to break the machine with our powers combined, but we're going to be able to disrupt the shield and you guys destroy the mech. How about that?" And of course, Daxter's like, "Okay, I guess we do that."
Mm-hmm.
But, oh no, the bad guys immediately show up after Samos says to do that thing. It's like, he, we're evil and bad, and enough of your juice has already went in there, and we're going to go take this mech over to the silos, pop them open, and be evil.
Evil.
Very, very one-dimensional. So, Jack and Daxter follow the mech up to the silos. They're fighting on top of it against this mech. It starts to crack open the silos like it's a vault door-esque situation where it's starting to crack open. And they're fighting back and forth using the powers they've gained along the way of harnessing the ecos. But then the sages are like, "Hello, we are also here now, and we're going to combine all of our eco together because we think something will happen or another." They don't really explain it. They're just like, "Hey, we're here too," and they're going to shoot. We're going to shoot our beam of ecos together. And when that happens, all the colors of the eco mix into a glob of white eco on the floor, which it was mythical at the time. And it's like, "Oh, there it is. Light eco." Um, there's up in arms debate with fans about if they say white eco or light eco. It does not matter. We're just gonna call it light eco for now. But the bad guys see it and they're like, "Oh, mythical light eco, bad. We got to get it before they get it." And Daxter's like, "I can use that to turn back into a human, but I guess we can save the world."
Bruh.
So then Jack dives into the light eco and he does essentially a Kamehameha at the mech, destroying it immediately. And the siblings that are in the head of the mech fly into the pit of dark eco silos, and then they close it immediately behind them, sealing them in to die.
Yo?
This is a kid's game, but they seal them in and they're like, "Well, that's it." Honestly, the game's dialogue makes it be like, "That should be it. They should be gone forever." It's like purposely misleading of they might come back. I'm going to tell you right now, they do not come back. They had a missed opportunity for something later in the game series, but these guys never come back.
Damn. We don't get to see them titties again?
No titties again. We saw them titties 3 times total.
That's all we're gonna get. We didn't give them enough money.
Unfair. But anyway, Daxter accepts that he's gonna live his life as an Ottsel. He's just proud that he helped save the world with Jack. And then Jack and Kira, who've had like goo goo eyes for each other like the whole game, go for a kiss, and then Dax, being a dick, interrupts them.
Rude.
So no kiss in this game. That's technically the end of the game, but you can 100% it by collecting all of the power cells around the island and putting it into a precursor door that's at the end of the game. that requires 100 of these damn things, or 101. And when you open it in the post game stuff, it's just a glowing light, and they're like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And that's it. That's what you get for 100%ing the game.
That's bullshit.
I'm not happy with this one.
I mean, I think with our adult brains, it feels like bullshit, but I feel like as a kid, that shit ruled.
Honestly, even just watching the gameplay of it, I'm like, this game just looks genuinely fun. And I guess if you come at it with the gamer mindset of nowadays of if I 100% something, I hope I get something rad like a legendary weapon or whatever the hell. But even for a post game thing that is just that, I feel like it's very satisfying even looking back on it. Maybe because I have access to all the games right after that, but I like it.
I like it. Picasso.
Picasso. Okay. Um, we're going to jump to game 2 now. I have it as Jack and Daxter 2, the edgy one.
The edgy one. So they, oh my god. They listened to Linkin Park.
Yeah, they listened to Linkin Park and they said, "Wow, kids these days they want more edgy and cool stuff because they've been playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and not Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank came out a year after the first one and that was more edgy. So kids want the edginess, so we're going to give it to them." They did a focus group with 8-year-olds and they were like, "This would be a good game for our little siblings."
Yeah.
So they're like, "Oh, even these 8-year-olds are saying this would be good for my little sibling. We need to ramp up the edgy factor."
Gotta bring it up.
So Jack and Daxter 2 essentially picks up where the 100% version of Jack and Daxter 1 drops off is, hey, that precursor gate was actually that precursor door was a precursor gate. We moved it to Samos's house slash Kira's lab, and we figured out that this is some sort of warp gate that coincides with this Rift Rider. It's like a car with no wheels essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "We don't know what it does, but let's figure it out." So they just click a fucking button. It's Jack, Daxter, Kira, and Samos all just sitting in this thing. And they click the button and the warp gate activates and it's glowing ominous purple and these uh terrifying metal monsters start appearing in there. The biggest one screams, "Finally, the last rift has opened." And Samo says some cryptic ass shit of, "Oh, so that's how it happens," and then they start flying towards the portal in this car.
Oh?
Yeah, so they fly towards the portal, missing the creatures that are coming out of the portal. Oopsies, I guess. And as they're going through the portal, their Rift Rider or car just starts shaking violently and explodes, and they're all sent into different directions. And Samos says some more cryptic stuff. Just find yourself, Jack, and that's the last we hear of Samos.
Like ever?
Yes.
Oh,
And that's it. The party is separated. Jack and Daxter luckily were flying in the same direction and land on a big ass metal platform in the middle of a very metallic city. I don't think there's any life in there. There might be trees and stuff. This is the game I've played the most, and I'm so brain fried of looking at Jack and Daxter stuff.
valid.
But they land on this platform and they're like, what's going on? Just looking around. And then some guards immediately come in and one of them says, "Hey, we've been waiting for you," and immediately knocks Jack out.
You know, a greeting.
Yeah, uh, appear on a random metal platform. "We've been waiting for you," clock you out, while Daxter runs away, because he's an asshole. He just leaves Jack there by himself. And as Jack is fading out, the last thing he hears is Daxter screaming, "Don't worry, Jack, I'll save you before you know it." It cuts to black, and then a screen card pops up of 2 years later.
Yo.
He just Before you know it, Jack, he'll be right there. No problem. Your fuzzy little orange companion's got this.
Nope,
So-
not even a little.
yeah. So 2 years later, we find Jack strapped to a chair, writhing in pain as Dark Eco is being injected into his body by Baron Praxis. It's the bad guy of the game. I'm
Hmm.
just going to refer to him as Praxis for the rest of these notes here.
Okay.
Uh, so Baron Praxis is injecting him with Dark Eco, and he's getting frustrated since Jack is quote unquote resistant to the experiments, and he's essentially trying to make a super soldier by injecting people with Dark Eco because they are losing a war to those creatures that were starting to come out of the portal last scene.
You know, this sounds like some Captain America super soldier shit.
It very much is. Um, but it's using the type of eco that literally corrupts people and makes them evil. Um, so Jack's been getting pumped full of this stuff for the past 2 years. But apparently he's been pumped so full of dark eco that it should have killed him. In fact, Jack is the last surviving experimentee in this program, and Praxis is just like, fuck it, this is a failure. He looks over at his subordinate who has a name, who is important later. I just did not write it down in this specific
His name
note.
is John.
We'll just refer to him as John. So he looks over at John and he's like, hey, take care of this guy later tonight. Like, I'm done. I'm pulling the plug on this thing. And they both leave together. So as they're leaving that area, Daxter finally arrives out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hey, come on, Jack! I've been looking for you." Smacking him around, jumping on his stomach and stuff. Like, "Come on, Jack! Come on, come on! For once in your life, say something." And then Jack's eyes shoot open, and then he screams, "I'm gonna kill Praxis!"
Yo,
And that's the first words from our protagonist.
he gets a voice actor?
He gets a voice actor. He's edgy now. His hair is grown out. And also, I guess he grows facial hair. And while he was in prison, they said a beard is too much, but a flavor saver is good enough. And he gets a tiny chin strap.
Yo, he's been listening to so much Metallica.
So Jack he's angry. He screams, "I'm gonna kill Praxis." And I'm gonna give you the option here. Do you want to find out what happened over the past 2 years in the standalone Daxter game on the PSP that came out 3 years after Jack and Daxter 3? Or do you just want to continue with Jack and Daxter 2?
You know what? Tell me what Daxter's been doing.
All right, let's scroll to these notes real quick. The PSP game essentially starts off by recapping that beginning scene of crash landing in the middle of that city and Jack getting knocked out. And this it's Daxter running away. He screams, "I'll save you before you know it," and cuts to a black screen and says, "Almost 2 years later." So he did jack shit for almost that entire time.
Did nothing.
It cuts to him telling very fluffed up, self-centered stories about the adventure he had with Jack in the first game. That's essentially what he's been doing over these past 2 years. Just talking himself up because he's a bad friend. He's a terrible friend.
He's a weenie.
He's a weenie. He's a weasel.
A weenie weasel.
A weasel.
Weasel.
So this weasel gets the eye of some old dude at the bar and is like, "Oh, I like your stories. Well, I hear you're a man of action and stuff. Why don't you work for me? I'm an exterminator." And Daxter, I guess, was just like, "Okay," and just starts working for this guy, taking on jobs as an exterminator. He does a few assignments for him, and then eventually he I'm gonna skip all of these notes because honestly, even though I wrote them down, this can boil down to Daxter forgot he had a best friend for almost 2 years, got a job as an exterminator, and then just futzed around until he by chance saw Jack getting transported from one location to another in a police cruiser, essentially. And then he's like, "Shit, I got a best friend again," and then goes to save him.
That's shit. What the
Yeah,
fuck? Like,
uh, yeah.
I mean, I'll give him some credibility, like he is just a little like weasel guy, but he still should have tried.
He should have done almost anything, but he just forgot for a long time. But stuff happens. Overall, there's not many rollover characters from the main series to the side thing. Like, there's it honestly, none of this really matters except for, hey, this is how Daxter got there. He fucked around, saved the city a little bit, almost. And then one of the people he was working with is like, "Oh, these plans actually say that elevator right behind you would take you straight to the top where Jack is." And then he gets on the elevator, and then that's when he appears next to Jack in the second game.
It's bad.
It's bad. It's bad storytelling. It was a cash grab. They said, "We need a game for the PSP. Let's just explore what Daxter did for 2 years," and it was nothing.
Nothing.
So we'll cut back to Jack, who screams, "I'm gonna kill Praxis," after shooting his eyes open.
His first words. Baby's first words.
Baby's first words, and he's emo. So after that, Daxter's like, "Whoa, calm down there," and Jack's not having it. He turns gray, his eyes turn completely black, and he hulks out of his bindings and starts approaching Daxter menacingly, and it looks like he's about to attack him while Daxter's pleading for his life, essentially. And then Jack snaps out of it.
He stopped listening to Metallica.
Yeah, for a second, he's like, "Oh wait, I don't want to hurt my friends for realsies. It's just the music I listen to."
Ugh.
Yeah. So the dark eco actually did work. The program was a success, I guess. It has corrupted Jack into Dark Jack, where intermittently he will just roid out and start just attacking indiscriminately.
Is this a game mechanic where like you can activate it, or is it like randomized and you're like, fuck, I'm in the middle of a mission. Please don't do this now.
No, it's a game mechanic where you just get beefy. You Mario Superstar it up, and you're just able to just beat shit.
Sorry.
So they break out of the lab with their melee abilities that they had in the first game. First game, it was all melee based. The second game, there's guns that appear soon, but right now they meleeed their way out of the lab. They're like, "We're free, we did it. We gotta kill Praxis, I guess." And some old guy named Core bumps into Jack while Jack bumps into him, and essentially gives Jack a lay of the land that they're in a city that's under control of Praxis, who's been protecting the citizens from those dark creatures called metalheads. And that's he keeps the city under a pretty tight leash because he's an asshole. Old man also has a little kid with him who's apparently important. Do I have a picture of old man? Old man.
Show me the old man.
This is an old man.
Google, show me this guy's balls, please.
Showing balls.
Don't show me this guy's balls, actually.
I should have used this image because this is the one you get of just this old guy with this little kid. And he just gives you information. And while he's explaining this to you, some guards show up and they're locking the area down. Like, "Hey, some prisoners escaped and they're in this area." And the old dude's like, "Protect us."
That's my favorite, like, trope ever.
Of kid just minding his business. Kid and old man mind business.
Oh, wait, they're talking to Jack and Daxter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the prisoners who escaped, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the trope where it's just like, hey, some prisoners is, like, oh, we're there's criminals on the loose. Can you do something about it? And it's like, oh, I am the criminals.
No, they admit they escaped from this lab, and the old dude's essentially like, "We're all prisoners to Praxis. We're all trapped in these walls." He's very like Shlum, and he's like, "Hey, protect us from these guards because their motto is surrender and die."
Capitalism.
Yeah. So the Crimson Guards come in, you beat their ass, and then the old man's like, "Hey, thanks for saving us. If you want some help, go to this shady part of town, to this dead end alley, and then go ask for a man named Torn, and his boss, the Shadow, will be able to help you. Okay? Okay. Goodbye. I have to go protect this kid. He is very important." And then leaves with him.
See ya.
Yeah, he essentially is like, "Okay, anyways, later." You get there, you ask for Torn. Torn's like, who wants to know?" He's edgy. "I never dropped a picture of Kira from game 1."
Show me.
I'm deleting pictures as I'm going because this folder is chock full of people.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's so freaking cute. I love her.
Manic pixie dream girl.
She's sassy, she's messy, she's smart. Anyways, so Torn's like, "Hey, I don't trust you guys. So what I want you to do is I want you to go take the Baron Praxis's banner off of that like dilapidated building over there and bring it back to me, and that'll show to me that you are actually with us, even though I've just met you." Jack and Daxter go up there. This building's crumbling as they go up, and they get the banner. The whole building falls down as they're pulling this banner off, and they
Bruh.
barely make it out alive. And then they essentially land, eat shit a little bit, and look up, and Torn's right there, and he's like, cool, you're in. Anyways, I'm gonna start giving you a whole bunch of missions now, and I'm not gonna let you meet the Shadow yet until I say so, because he's an asshole.
Yeah.
So you go on missions. On one of the missions, you have a cutscene where you see some of the Crimson Guards giving metal heads some containers of eco. This game really doesn't give a shit about the different colored ecos anymore. It's just normal eco or dark eco. I don't know what happened.
Simplified the system.
Yeah, they simplified it. So they said, "All right, here's some eco." They gave it to some metalheads, and they're like, "You'll get the rest when we give it to you. Just slow your roll." So the guards are working with the metalheads that are supposedly like ferocious monsters that they have to keep out.
Ferocious monsters.
So after you report back to Torn about the eco stuff going to the metalheads, he's like, interesting. The Shadow would be very interested in that. Anyways, so we have a shipment of eco. Can you go give it to our supplier? His name's Crew. He's obviously the black market. He's also another mission mill. I'm going to tell you right now, these next few notes, it's going to feel like I'm just throwing characters at you. And if you're just watching cutscenes, that's what it's going to feel like also.
Okay.
You're getting introduced to several different characters, and they're all giving you different types of missions. And these are people you come back to over the course of the rest of the game for more missions.
Okay.
So you go and meet Crew. Crew is the embodiment of gluttony. He wants all the wealth, he wants all the food, he wants everything for himself.
Yeah.
He's just terrible. He very much threatens to break your kneecaps like after turning in this mission because you ask for the thing he said he was going to give you for a payment for a mission you did. Yeah, he's just an overall scumbag. So you do some missions, you meet Crew, you do some missions for him. So these are just both Torn and Crew giving you some missions. Eventually Crew's like, "Fine, I'll give you the information." So what's going on with the metalheads and the eco is essentially Praxis made a deal with the leader of the metalheads to supply them with eco so they can attack the walls just enough so he stays in power. Okay, that's what's going on. Now get out of here. Go away.
Get out, skedaddle.
Yeah, honestly, he goes in there, takes his sweet ass time telling you anything, and then he essentially forces you out the door. Like, oh, get out of here. I have to take my beauty rest. Yeah. It's like, crew, I hate you so much. So yeah, we find out the leader of the city, the big bad guy, is working with the leader of the supposedly ferocious monsters that have actual intelligence. And that's the other big bad guy of the game. Wow, a 2-for-1 special? Look at all these bad guys. So anyways, more missions for crew, and then eventually he's like, hey, I want you to go meet my mechanic. She's top notch, and she said she would consider you as a racer in this upcoming hoverbike racing thing if you get to her side of town in under 3 minutes, and then you have a mission to rush across town and get there within 3 minutes. Um, when you do that, you come across the mechanic, and she's working behind a curtain. She's working on a secret project. Presumably, it's one of the hover bike things for the race. But she doesn't want to come out and meet you because you work for crew, and she thinks he's a slime ball.
Damn. True though. She's spitting bars.
She is, in fact, spitting bars. Honestly, this whole section can be summed up to either crew or Torn give you missions, and you meet these following NPCs. Tess, she starts working at the bar at Crew's place. His front business is a bar. She's working at the bartender, but she's also a secret spy for the underground to get any information on Crew. She's also Daxter's love interest for the game.
Wait, he gets one?
Yeah, he gets one. He gets a love interest. This is Tess.
Okay.
Um, so he just flirts with her consistently, and then eventually she starts flirting back. Then we get Cruise Mechanic, or he did that. I'm not gonna give you a picture of essentially a curtain. There's no point of that. Torn sends you on a mission. It's like, hey, one of my friends from when I was a Crimson Guard needs your help to do this thing. Can you meet her there? That's when you meet Ashton.
Hey, yo.
Ashton's a baddie. And then I'm not gonna provide a picture for Vin because he's just a nerdy looking human guy. He works at the power station. He's the only operator. He keeps the whole system running. So we go and meet him as a saving mission because some metalheads got into where he's working at and he needed protection. Then there is Onin, who is the mystic slash fortune teller. I did have a picture for her. Where are you?
I'm so sorry.
I'll give the picture of Onin and Pecker. So Onin is the fortune teller slash mystic lady, and then there's Pecker, who is like a chimp parrot, who is her interpreter and speaks for her.
I dig the design.
Yeah. He is a sassy Hispanic voiced character. I love him. He's a huge asshole, but like he just meets Daxter's energy. And while he's interpreting for Onin, he's also throwing in his sly ass comments of like, she says, go get these 3 things, and you should hurry up and stop being so stupid and just go get them. She didn't say the stupid part, that was me. And then I just love his attitude. It's just sassy, fat speaking Hispanic guy, and as a sassy Hispanic, I appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
So we meet these characters. They give us different missions. Onin's like the one that feels like we're moving more towards like the meat and potatoes of the actual like core of the game, where she says, "Hey, um, good to meet you." She says some cryptic ass shit where you first walk in there and she's like, "Hello, good to see you again," even though it's their first time meeting her.
Hmm.
And she's essentially they're like, "Well, this is our first time meeting you, though," and she's like, "Time is relative. Uh, Hello again, first time, last time. It all happens at once. Doesn't matter."
Hmm.
Yeah, cryptic mystic shit, and I dig her stuff. But she says essentially, "Hey, Praxis is trying to locate a tomb of the founder of the city. who has a powerful artifact in his tomb, and we want you to go in there and get it before he does, because he's just going to fuck everything up with it. And now we have reached the bottom of my 7 pages of notes. So now it's seat of my pants time.
Ayo.
Essentially, you start doing these missions of gathering the parts to find the tomb in the first place, because she points you in the right direction. There's 3 parts you need to find the place and to get in. While you're doing this, you also come across different racing mechanics, because that's how you get around the city. There's just like bikes and cars and stuff that you can essentially Grand Theft Auto and do races for if you want to from the mechanic. So you go to the mechanic, and one of these times you're trying to help them out again, and they're still being very flippant and still like blah whatever. And Jack has been the very obvious only one talking, compared to Daxter normally cutting in and talking to the NPCs, and then he gets fed up with the mechanic's flippant behavior, and is like, all right, you know what? I'm done. We're tired of your stupid missions and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what? That voice. And then slides the curtain to the side, and it's Kira. And Kira's there. So huzzah, they found Kira. Dun, 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 dun.
Woo woo.
So Kira's like, yeah, it's been crazy. I don't know. I don't like it here. I want to go home. I've been working on remaking that Rift Rider that we got in here in the first place, because she's a mechanic and she studied it incessantly before they used it. So she's essentially trying to recreate it so they can go home.
You did it.
We did it. Then they go to, they find the tomb. This is the tomb of Mar. Mar is the founder of the city, which I've already said. He's a descendant of the precursors, so he's got like amped up abilities and blah blah blah. And he founded the city, and he made a mega weapon to defeat the ancient race that we now refer to as the Metalheads. So they're trying to get in there to get this weapon so they can kill the Metalheads. While going there, they run into old guy again with little kid. And it's like, hey, you see this little kid right here? This little kid right here is the descendant of Mar, and that's how you're going to get into the tomb. It's a little amulet he's wearing. If you scrolled back up, the little kid's wearing an amulet. It's the amulet of Mar, and it gets him into that tomb.
Ayo.
Also, is the rightful heir to the city. So we find out also that the city is supposed to be under control by a royal line that was overthrown, and Praxis took over. Praxis overthrew them and took over, but this kid is the rightful heir to the city. So
Okay.
we take Kid to the tomb, and it's like, all right, Kid, you gotta go get this special magic artifact that's in there. This kid's like 2.5 years old, by the way. So essentially just taking a baby and saying, go on, baby, go get the rare artifact. You've got this.
You got this, little guy.
You got
You
this.
could do it.
You got this, baby. So they get to the tomb, and the tomb's like, descendant of Mar, and starts opening up. And then it's like, wait, this is a baby. This baby is too young, and then starts to close, and then Jack and Daxter freak out, and they run into the tomb to go get the mysterious thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Platforms ensue, because I might not have said it, but these games are platformers and shooters. So they go in there, they start solving the puzzles of this tomb, and they get their way all the way to the back, and the tomb, straight up was speaking, is like, descendant of Mar. And then when they get to the end, it's like, all right, you've done it. You are the chosen one to save the city. You take this precursor stone and you save the city. And then what the fuck is his name? Bitch boy, homie,
Homie bitch
Praxis.
boy.
Homie bitch boy Praxis comes in. It's like, haha, you led me straight to it, and I'm evil. I'm taking it now.
By the way,
In case you couldn't tell from those 2 years of me experimenting on you, I'm evil as shit.
Immediately triggered Jax. He's like, I must kill Praxis.
Yeah, he really just losing his fucking mind.
Kakarot!
Yes, yes, that same energy. Here, this is Praxis. So Praxis comes in his mech robot thing, and he's like, haha, I'm gonna take the stone. So you're fighting him while he's throwing bombs at you and trying to get the stone out of the surrounding rock, and it's like, I'm gonna get this precursor stone, and there's nothing you can do as you're destroying his ship around him. And as you destroy the ship, he's like, haha, I still win. And then a smaller part of his ship separates to be a smaller ship flying away with him and the precursor stone. And it's like, hee hee, I'm evil. Goodbye.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, oh no, our bad guy's got the MacGuffin.
He got the gun.
He got the what do we do with this with the MacGuffin? He's got it, and do an evil with it or something.
So,
Besides that, they find out that, oh, what happened? How did Praxis know that we were here and that he was able to follow us so shortly after? It just doesn't make any sense. And Thorn's like, hey, my bad. Praxis captured my friend Ashlyn and like was gonna kill her, and I sold you guys out so she wouldn't die.
the fuck?
The leader of the underground gave up vital information about this project because his friend and presumed lover was being held by Praxis and being threatened with her life. Oopsies.
Oopsie daisy.
So we're like, oh gosh darn it, I guess we gotta go save her slash figure out what's going on. So you go to where she's presumably being held and break her out, and what? Who's there? But the shadow. The shadow's also been captured.
Yata.
Ugh.
No way.
So the shadow is this guy. But not only was the shadow captured, but there's also someone else in that cell.
No way. Hey yo, are they siblings?
It's Samos and Samos from the past.
Wait a minute.
So the shadow is a younger version of Samos.
Yo.
Just absorb
Yo.
it for a second, because this is your first inkling of time travel bullshittery.
Time travel McBullshittery. He's got an afro.
Yeah, he does have an afro and a shorter beard, and I do like the change of there is an egg in his afro when he's younger, and then there's just the bird sitting on the log when he's grown up. Well, grown older.
It's a very good touch. Very good touch indeed.
Very much like that. Oh wait, this isn't the first time we find out that we're having to deal with time travel bullshit. Right before this mission, uh there was a mission that you go out to the Badlands where the metalheads are to go collect something, and you come across a dilapidated ruin of Samos's house. So we're not on a new world. We're on the same planet, and we've been teleported to 300 years into the future. And there is a younger version of the guy with us here too.
Okay.
Easy stuff to go through, right? Easily followed.
I think I just got confused.
Yeah. It'll clear up towards the end of the game, hopefully.
Okay.
So after this, Ashton is PO'd and is like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're going after my dad. You're after my dad." And that's when you find out that Ashton's dad is Praxis. Her name is Ashton Praxis. She's the daughter of the usurped ruler guy. Boom.
Okay. And so wait, is she the bartender?
No, that's the red-haired baddie that has a G-string sticking out.
Oh. Okay, that makes more sense.
Red-haired baddie is the daughter of evil dude. I think they're 2 images apart from each other.
Yeah.
There's an old woman splitting them up, but that's father and daughter there. Jack and Daxter essentially have to explain that no, your dad's a bad guy and he stole that precursor stone. Why don't you confirm what would happen if he were to crack it open like his plan is? So they ask the power tech guy, it's like, hey, what would happen if they were to crack that thing open? And the guy spazzes out. His name's Vin. I don't know if I said that already. And Vin's like, oh my God, if that were to happen, it would probably level the whole city and part of the continent with it. Like, it would be big bad news if that were to get cracked open. And she's like, shit, my dad is big bad. Damn it. If it wasn't
Damn it.
if it wasn't obvious enough, like she's working with the underground. I don't know why she needed that realization, but she did, and she's like, damn, when I was a little girl up in that tower, in the castle tower thing, I'd look down and be like, everyone should be living a better life than this. Can't believe my dad's bad though. Ugh. Just refusing to acknowledge the edginess that she's just spewing out.
Goodness.
At this point, we are jumping around a little bit because there's just a lot of shit that's going on. We go on another mission and we find out that we've been sold out again, but not us personally, the city, by Crew this time. And Crew essentially is working with the metalheads also and is letting them into the city.
What a bitch.
Yeah, what a bitch. So we go to Crew's location where they're mining eco, I believe, and he also has a bomb there. And he's like, haha, you think that you've beaten me, but I got this bomb, so I'm gonna take us all out together. I win. No matter what, I'm still the winner. So he clicks the button, it's on a timer or something, and then Ashton shows up in a car, is like, get in, losers, and picks up Jack and Daxter, and they get out just in time. As Crew explodes. Goodbye, Crew.
Goodbye. No, fuck him.
Goodbye.
Don't, but you know what I mean.
What if I really wanna?
I would disrespect you and your decision.
Fine then. So anyways, we get there. Crew has been blown up. Praxis has the stone again. Apparently Crew had it for a short, like he stole the stone for a second and he was going to use that to crack it open. It honestly, it doesn't matter. Crew tried to betray everyone and Praxis still has the stone. So we go to meet Praxis and beat his ass up, and we're like, hey, you Praxis, we're gonna come beat you up, and Crimson Guard surrounds us. I'm saying us again, but Jack and Daxter. It's hard to separate it when you're playing as these characters.
Yeah. I understand.
So Jack and Daxter get surrounded by these Crimson Guards and shit, and then what's this? Old guy shows up doing karate moves and stuff. What's going on? This is crazy. And he is like, damn it, Praxis, you betrayed me. And then old dude becomes the giant monster that we saw in the rift in the beginning of the game.
Oh?
Yeah, old dude was the leader of the metalheads the whole time. He surprise, I guess.
Plot twist.
Let me find his gross monster form.
Show me. All my homies know I'm a monster fucker. Let me see.
Honestly, like he doesn't do it for me as a monster fucker personally.
Oh. I'll be the judge. Let me see.
If it fucking loads, why is this image so large?
Well, you know why. Oh.
Yeah. Shit. Oh, indeed.
I'm sure he does it for someone.
Yeah, he's not my cup of tea.
I think it's the little arms.
No, it's just everything else is massively disproportioned because I think Jack comes up to the metal end of one of those legs. Like, this thing's massive.
Oh my god.
He a big boy.
And you know what they say about big boys?
Big emotional
He's
problems.
got big feelings.
The same thing!
He's got emotions and he feels betrayed.
I'm angry.
He angry.
After he transforms and he's like, haha, I'm gonna go steal this thing now. Praxis gets fucking mollywopped by him, and then Kor's like, all right, Kor's the old dude. Kor's like, all right, well, I'm out. Fuck you. I'm gonna eat this precursor stone, which is actually a precursor egg. The last precursor is inside this thing. Goodbye.
What?
And then Praxis, who is dying at this point, is like, you might have disassembled my bomb, but you know the first rule of making a bomb? Making a second bomb just in case. So then he has a second bomb and the egg is actually in there, and then he dies. And they get the stone out. And then that's when the guy steals it and goes is like, all right, I'm gonna eat this egg. Goodbye.
Yo.
Core has the egg now, and it's like, fuck, now we gotta go to the Metalhead's lair, to their nest, to their leader, go get this precursor egg back, because again, this is still a mass thing of destruction and is big danger mode. So they go in there, multi-level boss battle. Huzzah, they did it. And I know it feels anticlimactic, but I'm not gonna go through all the stages of fighting this guy shooting your gun because it feels cooler to play than to say.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They go in there, they fight, Jack wins, and they get the egg back. It's like, "Huzzah, we did it." And also what is in there, it is the other side of the rift portal, like, at the beginning of the game. And it's like, there it is. That's the rift portal. And that little boy, you see that little boy who I have also kidnapped, who is in this room before he died. I forgot to mention this. He said, this little boy right here, that is the heir of Mar. This is you, Jack. This is you as a child.
What?
This is you right here. And I'm gonna put this you in that portal and send you back in time to make sure that this all happens how I wanted it to. And then you kill him. And then everyone shows up. Samos, the shadow, little boy is there. Uh, Kira arrives with the fully functional Rift car thing. And it's like, I made it exactly how I remember that Rift car was from our time. And then Samos looks at her and it's like, that's because it is the Rift car from our time. You made it. You copied the schematics of your own design and you made it. So anyways, past me, you have to go take past Jack back to the past 300 years ago so he can grow up and make sure that this time loop happens. And that's the game.
Wibbly wobbly time travel bullshit.
Yeah. As far as time travel goes in video games, I like this because it is all self-capsulated. There is no technical paradox that they can create of knowing the stuff because it is destined to happen no matter what. So even though that the car that is able to traverse through this thing is the very same car that she finds in the first place and she copies its schematic, that's how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Even though that Samos met younger version of himself and knew that this was gonna happen and helped him set himself on the path, that's how it's supposed to be. Um, in this, I also choose to think, this is why Samos has so much beef with Daxter, because Daxter in the second game gives young Samos so much shit for the shit that older Samos did to him that I feel like it's a self-perpetuating circle that just Ouroboros itself of be a dick to this guy because he was a dick to me, but that was his younger self, so he grows up and then is a dick to that guy because he was a dick to him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's like generational trauma.
Yeah, except for it's the same two guys just spitting on each other.
Me when I don't say kind things to myself.
J- I'm spitting on myself right now. Take that to it.
I don't want to hear Hawk Twa ever again. Oh my god.
You're welcome.
Uh, um, Jack and Daxter be wildin' out here.
Jack and Daxter do be wild, and there is technically 3 more games. I will not talk about one of them at all because it wasn't made by Naughty Dog. And the last game I can wrap up in literally 2 minutes
What the fuck? How?
because it's a racing game with very little plot overall.
Oh my god, they did not. They did
Yeah,
not.
after Jack and Daxter 3, they came out with this racing game and said, "Here's a little bit of extra information." Also, spoilers, that doesn't fucking matter. Also, Jack and Kira finally kiss in that racing game. They didn't kiss in any of the other games, but they finally do it in that racing game.
I hope oh my god. I They gotta do it again. What do you mean they only kiss once?
I know, but even at the end of this game, Jack and Kira almost kiss. They get interrupted. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Still no kiss. And that's essentially Jack and Daxter 2. It's got time travel bullshit. There's also a fan theory of more time travel bullshit in the third game, but I'll circle back to that because it's more of a theory, not something that is set in stone.
Hmm.
All right, the third game, I'm not going into super deep detail. One, because I've never played past the first hour of the game.
Mhm.
And two, I just find it so god awful.
Don't you just love it when that happens?
Yeah, they fumbled the bag real bad. I'm more disappointed because they thought of an arbitrary enemy for this one and could have just brought back the siblings from the first game that was presumed still potentially alive. Like shit, you could have had them, ooh, getting corrupted for 300 years or some shit. I don't know, but they didn't. Also, sorry to you and the listeners that I lied that Samos was never seen again. He was seen again and twice.
That's okay. I'm glad that he came back. I mean, he's an asshole, but he's kind of growing on me.
That's mostly because he just keeps showing up, and it's like it's that one friend that's kind of a dick, and you're like, I don't think I like this guy, but he just keeps showing up, and even in that state of, I don't think I like this guy, now he's just part of the social group, and it's like, they've grown on me, damn it.
That one toxic friend who you keep at a distance, but you still keep him around anyway.
All right, let's get into part 3. Jack being in handcuffs and being escorted into the outer lands of the city that is all desert. As they're like, "Well, this is all your fault. This is because of you." And Jack's like, "I didn't do anything." Um, and the asshole, um, Vicar, could be even Vicar. Counselor Vicar, Vicar is just being like, "This is all your fault, and for that you get exiled. You go out here. Let's see if you live or not." And Daxter's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'll see you later." And also Pecker's there for some reason. This
Okay.
um and Ashton's also there, and she's like, "Hey, sorry I couldn't do more to keep you from getting exiled from the city." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever. Could have done more or whatever."
Damn.
Um, and then
Tell her.
she gives him a hug and a handshake, and in that handshake, she leaves a device in his hand. Um, so then they leave. Everyone leaves. It's just Jack there, and in the dust of where the drop ship was, boom! It's Daxter and Pecker. They didn't leave Jack behind. Um, and it's like, well, now we're all in this together, and we're gonna try to survive this desert and wander. Hopefully, this device Ashton gives me gets me saved.
Let's see how it goes.
So while they're wandering through the desert, being dehydrated and stuff, it does the flashback of essentially what happened. Of the city is in turmoil. It's been about a year, if that, since the second game, and metalheads got into the city. The Crimson Guard had robots in the second game that I didn't really talk about, but they became self-aware and they've been attacking the city from inside the city from their mobile manufacturing fort thing. Um, and Jack has essentially been scapegoated into saying, "This is all your fault that this has happened. It's
Wh-
your fault that metalheads are in the city, and also the robot revolution has happened."
I mean, is it?
Um, no.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Just to start off that stuff that happened, he was standing on top of the palace and it starts to explode and fall over with him on top. Um, because the war is going real bad in the city. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
So they pass out in the desert and they get picked up by some wastelanders, also other people who have been what is it called? Kicked out?
Yeah.
Mm,
Oh, out like out.
exiled.
Yeah.
Other people who've been exiled have found the signal from the device that he was holding and picked them up, and they wake up in a fountain of water, and it's Jack and Daxter again. And I guess they decided to cut his hair while he was asleep, so now he has a shortcut.
Who the fuck would do that?
Uh, oh, Jack. Jack and Dexter 3 Jack. Wait, move. Copy. So now he has short hair. And he's still angry.
Why? What does he look like to me? He looks so familiar to me. Like, the fuck? Hold on. He keeps just. Fuck, no. What does he look like? He looks like a real person.
I hope it's not anything nice you're gonna say, because to me, he looks like a guy who would date rape you.
Oh. I was gonna say Justin Timberlake.
I stand by what I said.
Oh.
You got NSYNC in my PlayStation exclusive game.
Oh yeah, he still looks like NSYNC, doesn't he? Okay, so he didn't change that much. He just looks like, yeah, okay.
But his chin strap has grown. Now he's got sideburns too. So you know he is a year older, I guess.
He wears glasses now, so you know that time has passed.
Yeah, that's essentially the dealio. So the wastelanders that picked them up are like, "Hey, I am the king. I'm King Guy. What is King Guy's name again? It's in here. Deimos. Deimos is the king of the Outlander people, and he's like, "Hey, Um, so if you want to be one of us, you have to win 3 gladiator duels. These duels are to the death. Um, because we don't support dead weight around here and only the strong survive. So be prepared because tomorrow that's going to be your first fight and I don't have high hopes for you. Um
Sheesh.
yeah, he also comes in with Pecker on his shoulder and apparently he just works for this guy now and now he's the interpreter for the king. I don't know how that happened. They don't explain it.
Okay.
So you do gladiator duel, you win. Yatta, you did it. So it's like, all right, congrats, you did it. Let's see if you can do it some more. Is this the one where? Gotta make sure. Yeah, fuck them. Oh, man, I really wish I liked this game, but it's so bad. Um, it's more convoluted plot points. Essentially, you win this gladiator duel. You go outside. There's an angry looking monk person is like, "Hey, you've got dark eco in you, and I'm not a fan." Um,
You're a goth. I don't
yeah,
like you.
honestly, it really is just that. She I think it's a girl. They just give him shit for no reason of like, ugh, you got darkness in you. You won't last here. You're gonna die. I hate you. Um, and you see that up there, there's like a shooting star that's glowing purple. It's like, and that doesn't matter because that thing up there, that thing's gonna kill us because it's coming to Earth right now, and we don't know what to do about it. And this is like big end game shit that they're trying to reveal to be like, are you interested in our game? This is literally world ending. A comet is hurtling itself towards Earth right now. Do you care? Please care.
Mm, please care about this plot point.
Please care about this plot point, even though that there's been massive fallout from fall off of players from game to game.
Damn.
I really do love this series. It's just these plot points are just so meh. Gameplay is still fun. It's just story wise for the third game, I didn't like it. So you find more precursor ruins. You're allowed to wander, I guess, after winning that first gladiator battle. You're just not one of the citizens there. And so you wander around, you do some missions. There's a big beefy dude who's in charge of like bird races. They're essentially like
Chocobos?
chocobo. Yeah, they're essentially just chocobos.
Diet chocobo.
Diet chocobo, chocobo. But they're more reptilian. I guess they're just like land dragons, but they just remind me of chocobos, honestly.
The same mechanic.
Yeah, race with these chocobos, essentially, is the whole dealio.
That looks like some Ren Fair shit.
That's the chocobo we have at home.
Nice brand.
Anyway, so they do some races, and you win the race, and it's like, "Ugh, I guess since you won, I have to be my end of the bargain. You can have this concentrated dark eco crystal, I guess. Try not to lose it because I'm gonna get it back from you when you die anyway. So it's just a loner, I guess. 'Cause the monk's an asshole for no damn reason. You make your way to a precursor temple for fuck all, I guess, and then you come across a glowing area and you get the voice talking in your head again. It's like, "Oh, what is this? Is this the precursor egg that hatched before or some shit? I don't know. I don't know what's going on." I think they refer to it as the oracle, and the oracle is like, "Ah, yes, we gotta help you out with all that dark eco you have in there." And then he starts rising from the ground, bathed in white light, and then he comes back to the ground, and he's like, "Ah, I feel so much better, Daxter. There's not all that darkness in me now. It's not a huge rage anymore." And now you have access to Light Jack also.
Nice. He found God.
Yeah. No! No! So here's what he looks like in light Jack form.
Okay, that looks sick.
Yeah, it's real cool. Essentially, Precursor Oracle was like, "Hey, balance out that darkness with your lightness. You have now a dark eco meter and a light eco meter, and you can transform into either of them when they fill."
Nice. Okay.
Huzzah!
I thought
Uh,
this was a racing game.
no, no, this is not the racing game. This is the third game.
Ah,
The
okay.
racing game's the one after the third game.
Ah, okay.
Um, Bad guy shows up again, talks to the monk. The monk is working with the bad guy, I guess, for some reason, and both of them are acknowledging the big meteor in the sky. Whoop-de-doo. Everyone's potentially gonna die. Ashling shows back up and's like, "Hey, we need you back in the city." And Jack's like, "No, I'm edgy now, and you guys kicked me out, so I don't want to fucking help you guys." Very, it's reasonable. Like, she could have done more, and he's still mad about it. So he says no to going back to the city and helping out. Um, he does eventually, but not right now. Not because she asked him to. Later, because he wants to. In another one of his gladiator battles, he comes across a dude he met in the second game that I never brought up. He was the heavy for crew, Sig.
Hmm.
So they fight against Sig, and both of them look at each other. It's like, Jack, Sig, Ugh, I I won't fight you, Sig. And Sig is like, well, that's too bad because in the gladiator things, it's kill or be killed. And he's like, fuck, I can't kill you. Never mind. So he throws his weapon down, and the king's super mad. He's like, well, there has to be murder in my murder ring. So they get in trouble, and they're both supposed to die. But luckily, because Sig was an informant in the city, he gets a pass, and Jack gets a pass for, I guess, helping out Sig when he was an informant in the city.
Okay.
It, it doesn't make sense. I've watched the cutscene 6 times, people. It doesn't make sense of why he lets them off so easily. Damus should have executed them. It would have been the end of the franchise. We would have been done. But instead, he's like, "All right, you guys get to go free." And whoop-de-doo, they finish their tasks. Jack eventually goes back to the city to try to help out where he can, but gets more light powers along the way. Um, the counselor guy is like, "Hey, everybody, look at Jack. Obviously, he's the problem." Tries to scapegoat him to literally all of his friends. So, like, everyone that is part of the main crew that I have said several times is there, besides the Outlander people. And they're like, "No, no, you suck. We're firing you. You should be fired." So they essentially kick this guy out. I guess they have the power to do that.
Okay. Fair.
Even where's this magical council at? Like, where's this council at? How come these guys are able to just fire this dude without the council there? Did they even need him? Could have they just said, "Nah, fuck this guy," and just killed him? It doesn't make sense. They didn't try in this third game. It's bad. It is bad.
Bad.
Bad game. Anyway, we find out that this dude, he's the one who blew up the castle in the first place because there's an ancient weapon underneath the castle in the city, and he was just trying to get to it. It's got precursor tech down there, of course, because it's always precursor bullshit. And we find out that that meteor is actually like corrupt precursor people. They got too close to Dark Eco and got corrupt, and now they have their own corrupt precursor shit as well that's also attacking. We also discover that the leader of the robots in the Metalhead army is evil henchman guy that I talked about that was experimenting on Jack in the second game. He died in the second game, but I guess he's a cyborg now.
Hey, yo.
Because why not? Honestly, cool concept. This guy was fucking weirdly obsessed with Jack. Like he was the big racer that he had to race against and defeat. And after winning, this guy went so crazy and tried to hit Jack with his car, missed, ran into a bunch of eco, and exploded. Like he should have been dead.
Hey, yo.
Yeah. Dude went batshit crazy, and then he's like, "Well, I guess I'm in charge of metalheads and robots, and I hate everything."
Fair.
They don't explain how it happens, how he survived, how he's a cyborg now, how anything, really. Uh, this game, they kind of gave up on explaining stuff.
Just play the game.
Yeah, it really did. Was just like, well, you got light form now. Isn't that cool enough? You get to do your skateboards and chocobo races, and you can glide with this light form, and you can hack and slash. And we gave you a new area, but you can also go back to the previous game area. Isn't that fun? Are you having fun?
Are you having fun, son?
It really does feel like that. I'm just gonna start ramping down to the slope of this game. Um, oh no, Jack is in trouble. What are they gonna do? Oh my God, it's Damus the King guy. He's showing up to help him. He's here. Hello, Deimos. You're gonna help Jack, and you got blown up, and you're starting to die now. Oh
Fuck.
no, Deimos is dying. What are your last words, Deimos? Oh God, my dying. My only regret in life was I always wanted to see my son again. He went missing a few years ago. Uh, he had this pendant on. I have a copy, and it's the exact same pendant that little boy Jack was wearing in the second game.
Oh.
He's like, and I never got to see my son again. Blech. Dies before Jack can say, "Oh wait, that's me. Actually, I'm your son. You're my daddy." So his dad dies in his arms,
No.
and his dad never got to know that he was so close to finding his son this whole time. Uh, womp womp. And also the counselor guy is there, the chancellor, and he's essentially monologuing like, "Ha ha ha, your dad's dead. Your dad's dead. Also, I kidnapped younger version of you, and it was me. I stole the you, kidnapped him away from your dad, and I started this whole thing. It was me. He. Goodbye."
What an ass.
Yeah, honestly, everything for power. So, not only did he help get this guy, who was, from the context clues now, the ruler of the city, got overthrown and his spot was taken over by Praxis. Then, while being the leader of a desert community and having a son in the desert, you go and kidnap his son. You've taken literally everything from this guy. This dude was a part, the bad guy for this game was a part of this whole guy's tragic backstory.
He is the tragedy in the backstory.
Even though this part I've enjoyed vastly because Damus was an interesting character and anything with him was interesting. So all of this I was vastly invested in. This game just can suck a fat one, and I just did not like the enemy.
That's a fair opinion to have.
But I do very much like that plot twist of like this was your dad the whole time, and like
Father.
he was. It's like it's theorized also that like he had like a soft spot for you that he couldn't place himself because he's a ruthless leader, but for some reason he kept letting you get away with shit. So it's like he had a sixth sense that he should have gone easy on you because you were his son. But it's not blatantly stated. It's just a theory,
A
a
game
game theory.
theory. Mhm.
So now a bad guy monologued, laughed, and drove away to try to go get the secret weapon that was under the palace. So Jack follows him and be like, "I gotta get this guy because he killed my daddy." So he's driving after him, now full of rage from the loss of a father that he never knew. Literally everything because of this one dude right here. Um, Follows him down. There's a precursor robot thing down there. Um, they fight. Jack wins. and then afterwards, the precursor hologram egg thing. So that hatched at the end of the second game, and I forgot to mention because honestly, it's pretty forgettable.
Damn.
So it hatched and it flew away, and it's like a specter version of the humans. And it's been the one who's been bestowing these powers onto Jack or whatever. And it shows up at this point, and it's like, hey y'all, none of this matters. That thing up there in the sky is arriving now, and everything's fucked no matter what either of you guys do. And then it starts arguing with itself back and forth, and then a door opens up behind it, and the real precursors are there. That was just a hologram. So there's not a last precursor. The species is still alive, and they're in hiding, and they're Oddstals, the thing that Daxter was turned into.
Oh?
They're just that. They're just fuzzy little orange dudes. Yes, their technology is amazing. Yes, they're an ancient species, but they wanted to look cool or something, so they made themselves look like ethereal beings.
What a twist.
I guess that's why Daxter turned into that, because DNA or something. It's also not explained.
I
So
mean,
yeah, there's just a bunch of Oddstals standing in a room of a computer that was piloting this Spectre, and they're like, "Okay, huzzah! Well, you 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 gotta go kill the thing." So they go up, they kill the thing flying towards them with the super weapon, I guess, because who cares? So they destroy it. Dude comes down, the crazy robot cyborg dude who has somehow got up there. He's got a machine from there, and you got to fight him and kill him. Woo! So you do it, and they're like, "Good job, you." The Oddstall. God, I wish I can care about the words that are coming out of my mouth right now.
oh no.
I'm just trying to get to the end of this. Listeners, I'm sorry. If you like the game, I'm sorry for shitting on it. It was bad. Uh,
I'm sorry I'm saying it's bad.
I'm sorry if you like it. It wasn't for me. I love the series still. Anyways, so the precursors are like, "Hey, good job, you saved the world. Do you want to become a precursor?" And Jack's like, fuck no." And then the bad guy who is still alive but was captured, I guess. Um the count, the council guy, whatever.
Count
Council guy is
Chocula.
like, me. Make me a precursor. And they're like, boom, bam, you're a precursor now. Um, and he's a weasel. He's a weasel man also.
Weasel man.
Uh, I guess that happened before they revealed that they were weasels, and he's like, "What the fuck? Why am I weasel?" But I'm sorry, y'all. I don't care, and I'm sorry. I'm gonna make Roma not care about this, but I'm not sorry. Anyway, this guy's a weasel man now. And now he is a shoulder companion to a piece of shit. So this piece of shit gets to be a piece of shit with someone else. And they're like, "You did it." Also, Daxter, do you want to become a human again? So you can be with your human girlfriend Tess, who is very much a human and macking on you right now.
So you can have a proper relationship with this woman.
Yeah, and he's like, "You know what? I'm just digging that you guys actually have clothes. I wish I could wear pants." And they said, "Sold." And they just gave this dude some jeans. Daxter didn't want to become a human again. He just wanted some jeans. Why? Because they're bad storytelling.
Uh,
Um, and then Tess, who was standing right there, was like, "Whoa, whoa, I love the new jeans," and kissing on him. And they're like, "You like those jeans? Cool. We'll give you a matching set." And then turned her into an Oddstall. And
damn, she agreed to this?
nope.
What the
No,
fuck?
they just changed her into one, and she just did not give a shit. That's buck wild, but okay.
Yep.
So we get to the end of the game. It's about to be credit time. The odd stole prefect what is the name of them again? They made me not care about them. Precursors. The precursor odd stoles are like, hey, we're gonna go to other planets and stuff and save them. You wanna come with us, Jack and Daxter? And Jack's like, yeah. And Daxter's like, nah, I got my honey now. So Jack gets into the spaceship and then it closes and flies away. And they're all staring at this spaceship fly away. And Jack comes from behind them and is like, I couldn't leave without my friend. Um, there's some bullshit. And that's the game.
You did
Um,
it.
the theory for that is that um Jack actually did go with the Oddstools, and he went back in time to the world, to the creation of the city, and he went by his given name. His name was Mar, named after their family lineage, the creator of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So when he was born, his dad named him after the creator of the city, their ancestor. So the theory is that because that was the name that he was given when he was a boy, he said, you know what, I'm going to go back in time and make sure this all happens because I've been wandering these areas, exploring all these places of Mar and the weapons of Mar and handling all these things of Mar. I'm going to go back in time and make sure that this all happens. And that's how he went from being on the spaceship and the doors closing behind him to walking up behind his friends after it flies away.
Mm.
Is it just it's just a theory? I get it. I personally subscribe to it, but like maybe it was just a comic relief thing of some sort. It wasn't funny, but they tried.
They sure did try.
All right, one more game to go that I'll talk about. There's two more games, but I'm not going to talk about one of them because it wasn't made by Naughty Dog.
Okay.
This is the racing one. It sucks ass. So a few years later, they get called. A year later, or something like that, they get called. I say they. It's Jack. It's Daxter. It's a few of the other friends as well. They get called to a city to read the last will and testament of someone they know, someone you might know. He might be in a chair, and he's huge, and he's disgusting.
Ah.
So it's the last will and testament of Crew. So they go there, and apparently he has a hot daughter. And it's like, okay, well, here's to my dad, I guess. So they all drink it, and then a video starts playing of a pre-recorded message from Cars, like, this is you've all fallen into my trap. Actually, I had an ongoing bet with another black market guy. And I need you guys to race for me to win this bet, even though I'm fucking dead. Even though I'm dead. So I still care about this, I guess. And those drinks that you guys drank to celebrate me were all poisoned, and you'll only get the cure if you win all the races and do the thing.
That's bullshit? Question mark.
Yeah, the story does not matter. You do it, the game, you do it all. You defeat Crew's old enemy. He gets taken away. You win the races. You get the cure. Originally, you think that his daughter is not a part of it because she also drank the poison, but she didn't actually drink poison. She was also part of this thing. Guess family business or something. and and then Jack and Kira finally kiss at the end of that game.
Fucking finally.
Uh, here's some edgy ass image of Jack and Daxter in this game.
He looks so sunburned.
No, not sunburn. He's just dirt. He's a grease monkey now.
Ah. The car's sick though.
The car is super sick. It is just a racing game that's skinned for Jack and Daxter. Um, it It came out years after the Daxter game, which was 3 years after Jak and Daxter 3.
Damn. You've just excuse me, you just went through a lot.
I'm sorry it sounded like I didn't care at the end there. I really do care. I really do love this game. I really love the second one more than anything. The first one, fantastic. It's cutesy, it's homesy, it's got great graphics. Overall, very nostalgic for a game that I didn't even actually play, but it just got that feel to it. And then the third game just hurts my feelings. Just hurts my feelings a lot.
It hurt my feelings too.
Sorry I couldn't be more happy-go-lucky about it.
You d Hyperfixations don't have to be, like, this big presentation of joy and wonder. You can present it however you want to. You were
I
fine.
can present it with love while still dunking on the bits I don't like.
Yeah,
Take that, universe.
take that. Um, you just you just spoke about Jak and Daxter for 2 hours. How do you feel?
My throat hurts.
Mhm.
You just listened to me talk about Jak and Daxter for 2.5 hours. How do you feel? What information did you glean? Did you enjoy any of that?
I've learned so much about something I knew nothing about. Um, how do I definitely need to go and watch, like, videos on it so I can see how the gameplay functions.
Mhm.
Um, because I only understand it I understand it not as a video game, but as, like, a show or a movie or a series of movies, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So I know that there's a whole section of it that I don't have knowledge of, but I am very grateful that you have finally solved one of my childhood mysteries of what the fuck Jack and Daxter is.
uh By me, I gave myself an existential crisis of what is Jak and Daxter because it felt like it changed from game to game.
I mean, don't we all?
Yeah, we do change from game to game.
Yeah,
Let's
eventually we
see.
become a little weasel.
Um, I, my only finishing thing of this is here's the titles I named for each game. Jak and Daxter 1, the Crash Bandicoot feeling one.
Mhm.
Daxter, the PSP one. It's bad. Don't play it. Jak and Daxter 2, the edgy one with time travel and bullshit.
Wibbly wobbly time travel bullshit.
Jak and Daxter 3, the less edgy one that tries to wrap up everything in a nice bow but fails miserably. And then Jak X, the stupid racing one.
The stupid racing one.
It didn't add any substance to it. If I did not add Jak X to this at all, you would still get the same information except for they kiss at the end finally.
Fucking finally!
They finally fucking kiss.
Now quiche, schmooch.
I'd highly recommend if you were to ingest this information on your own endeavor, listeners, that maybe don't watch all the cutscenes put into a video unless you've got 7 hours to kill.
Yo?
The first game's cutscenes are about 30 minutes. The second game's cutscenes are about 90 minutes. Daxter surprisingly has about an hour of cutscene. Uh, Jak and Daxter 3, it's another hour and a half. It wasn't as complicated, but like they still just tried to wrap everything up, so there was a lot of story to tell.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a 6.5 hour long thing. puts everything in there, including the racing ones, cutscenes. Yes, it has cutscenes. And then I think it also tries to do the one with planes, but that's not canon, so we don't talk about it.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know how to end this, honestly.
Oh, I'm soaking it in right now. I've just learned a lot about Jack and Daxter. Um, so we went through this whole journey, and you've talked about a lot of things that you liked and you didn't like. Is there any particular? I'm gonna ask you some kind of trivial questions. Uh, who's your favorite character?
Uh, hmm. Kira.
Yeah,
She's just she's never really angry. Like even when she was being dismissive, when she thought they were just some cronies for crew, like her intelligence shone through. She's always wanting to be helpful. Very she very much loves her dad and was like excited to see him and wanting to work hard and etc etc. And as far as the women in this game that they over sexualize, even hers is like the most moderate, which is still not much. Like she's still wearing like low waist pants and then overall straps that attach to like an overall belt.
yeah,
Um, but even still, like she's far less sexualized because even Tess, they have like emphasis when Jack is not Jack, when Daxter's talking to her of like him looking down at her boobs or whatever.
uh,
Kira's just not sexualized. Ashlyn is because like they sexualize her. She has her G-string hanging out and she's constantly swaying her hips and like she's obviously designed in a way to like sexualize the shit out of her.
yeah,
And Kira's just not designed like that. So that also is a big bonus because I don't like over sexualization of just people in general. I make sexual jokes, but like I don't know. That's a personal choice and not me forcing it onto someone else.
yeah. I got you.
Uh,
I got you.
I don't know if that made sense.
No, that made sense. Would you recommend for somebody to play through all these games in the year of our Lord 2024?
I've been looking everywhere for a copy of Jack and Daxter 2 for the past 2 weeks, honestly.
Ayo.
Yes, I would recommend it. At least the first two, gameplay wise, they're still fun. They're still an interesting story. I don't know about three. I only played the beginning part and I was bored. And then watching the cutscenes, I was more bored than playing it because at least I had something to do while I was playing. Uh, Play it. Do it. Listeners, play this game.
Do it. Do it now.
Do it now. And then maybe play 3 also and let me know if like it's better than I thought and maybe I'm just missing out. Take this bullet for me, listeners. Come on.
I don't know. I feel like I definitely need to play the first two games. I think if it was like readily available somewhere, I'd play Jack 3 and see what the vibe is. I don't think I'll ever play Jack X. I'm not good at racing games, period.
Mhm.
But I definitely watch someone play it. Maybe that's what I'll do when I go to bed tonight. I'll pop it on the TV. Listeners, we're all gonna have a slumber party. We're all gonna watch the same video tonight.
Well, we'll see you in our dreams. We're going to be dream walking in Jack and Daxter land.
Jack and Daxter Land. Um, holy shit. I think my favorite character is probably Daxter. I love comedic relief characters.
You would he shines the most in the first game, just from bouncing off the characters, but I think it works better in the second game from they since they're best friends still, they have a very playful nature. So even though Jack is a much more edgy character, they just have a nice banter going back and forth between them.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you so much for sharing this with me today.
Yeah, thank you for coming to listen. I had a fun time, except for in 3.
Except for
I
in
had a
3.
great time.
Yeah, the entire time except for 3. Yeah.
Yeah. It would have come out more clean towards the end there. I just couldn't rewrite those notes in time, one, and just mentally, I couldn't rewrite those notes again.
Oh, you're
I
fine.
got as far as I could.
You did fantastic. Do not worry. Do not worry your pretty little head, my baby.
Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Well, listeners, if you've got any questions or comments or concerns, uh drop them in the Discord under the Jack and Daxter channel, and Lewis will address them accordingly, right?
Yes, I will be here for I'm trying to be more active on Discord. I've been here from the friggin' beginning, and I'm never on. The messages it's overwhelming sometimes. I go to sleep and wake up, and there's like 200 messages across the channels.
No, I feel that. Gotta mute them, baby. That's why I do the at everyone, so you don't have to check in all the time.
Eh, I'll come and check in on this one when it goes live.
Sounds like a plan.
You pray.
So we can find you on Discord on the
Yeah,
internet.
I'll be here on the Hyperfix Discord if you want to talk to me, or no, just address it here. Please don't send me friend requests and try to message me directly. So some previous episodes I've had that, and that is spooky to me. Please don't do that. I won't add you.
Just in the channels.
Just in the channels. If we talk a little bit and we vibe, maybe I will add you. Um, please don't do that for any of our hosts or guest hosts.
Well, some might be okay with it, but definitely just mostly aim for the Discord.
Aim for the Discord. It's your safest bet, and ask them in there if it's all right to message them.
Yeah.
It's just the safest bet across the board. But for me personally, blatantly, please don't do that.
Are we ready to end things and wrap it up?
Yeah, but where can people find you?
Well, they want to find me?
Yeah, where will people go if they want to find you?
Jeez. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me on the internet at I appreciate your butt at twitter.com. That is IAPPRECI, the number 8 URBUTT. You can find me on the podcast as well at the Hyperfix Pod on the twitter.com, and also TikTok at the Hyperfix Pod, Tumblr and Blue Sky, but mostly TikTok, and of course on the Discord. This podcast wouldn't be possible without the Moonshot Network, so thank you to Moonshot Network for having us. You can find them at Moonshot Pods on the twitter.com or Moonshot Network at Twitch, where they do streams all the time. So you should definitely go check them out. See the podcasters live and in person, their faces. Our intro and outro music is thanks to Offuscate. That is OFUSKATE. You can find them on Instagram, Twitter, and SoundCloud. You can check out our Patreon if you want to get episodes early. You can go on patreon.com/the hyperfixation. For as little as $1, you can get content early. Thank you to our current patrons. Thank you to Flo. Hey, it's Ken, Becky Scott Fairley, and Ver.
Woo!
Thank you guys for
Yeah!
supporting us on Patreon. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you guys. Thank you for supporting us.
Thank you. Be safe. Don't die. Drink your water. Take your vitamins. And badoo.
Be careful for Dark Eco. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
We can have a low energy one if you want.
It's not as much of low energy as much as like I feel like I'm gonna come off dry. If that makes sense. I'm not gonna be very wet. But not in like
That's
that
okay.
way, but you know what I mean.
That's all right. I could be the verbal lube to correspond with
Oh
this.
my god.